What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video right here at Chris's MMA Universe. So it looks like official breaking news has actually happened that we all wanted to hear, and it's Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman for the UFC welterweight strap. So Gilbert Burns is out, and Jorge Masvidal is stepping in on 6 days' notice. This is what we all wanted, right? This is what all the UFC fans had wanted to watch. They wanted to watch this fight. Nothing against Gilbert Burns, and of course, Gilbert Burns is a game opponent, but who doesn't want to see this? This is what we all wanted to see. I'm super excited for this. I know you guys are too, because this is what we all wanted to see. Jorge Masvidal stepping in on 6 days' notice. So it looks like the backyard brawler, the street fighter. It looks like the goon of the sport, the BMF, the gangster of the sport. But let's be real. This guy is a goon. Jorge Masvidal is stepping on 6 days' notice. Now, this says a lot about Kamaru Usman as well, because he was training for Gilbert Burns. We all know, Kamaru Usman was bringing in pro boxers to train for Gilbert Burns. So it looks like he was actually training for the stand-up aspect of the game. Where he was actually going to go in there and maybe, be sharper on his stand-up for Gilbert Burns. But, that's never going to hurt, going up against Jorge Masvidal. But, I got to be honest with you guys. I'm going to tell you something. Kamaru Usman, in my opinion, does not want to stand with Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal is not the guy that you want to stand with. Jorge Masvidal knows when to strike, knows where to strike. And, being a street fighter, a backyard brawler, coming into being a pro athlete, it's different. I think it's a lot different than, just actually training as a pro fighter and, just being up there as a pro fighter. Of course, those guys know how to scrap, right? The UFC fighters, of course. But just having that street fight background, it's just different. It's just different. It's raw. It's raw. And for Jorge Masvidal to take this fight on short notice, it looked like there was a negotiation going on with the UFC. We all know if you try to go up against the UFC, you're not really going to win. As a fighters, as we know in the past, try to go up against the UFC, it doesn't really work for them. So it looks like there was a negotiation going on, and maybe Jorge Masvidal slept on it. Maybe he got back to them in the morning, was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. For whatever the terms were. But it looks like they made it work. It's definitely going to happen. It has been confirmed for UFC 251, July 11th, this Saturday. And I'm so excited for this. It's just, Jorge Masvidal is going into this fight a little bit different. He's going into this fight where his mindset is different for this. It just seems different for this fight, where he seems very, very, very confident. Now, of course, his past opponents, of course, he's been very confident. He's been very firm going in, of course, right? He's not afraid of going up against anybody, anywhere, anytime. But for some fighters are actually prepared for fighters before anything has actually been signed on the dotted line. And what I mean by that is, I'm not talking about a full training camp has gone on beforehand. It's just they prepare mentally for the fighter. It's just something different that Jorge Masvidal seems to feel going into this fight. He got it figured out. He's not worried whatsoever. I'm not saying he was worried for his past opponents, but for his past opponents, he would say things where he thinks they're good at, things that they bring to the game that, that he has to watch for, stuff like that. He's not saying that for Kamaru Usman. He's not saying anything positive about Kamaru Usman. I'm not saying that he's just talking trash. I know we've heard Jorge Masvidal talk trash before, but it's different. It's just different. And I honestly believe if Kamaru Usman decides to stand up with Jorge Masvidal thinking it's just going to be peaches and cream, I believe he is wrong. I do not think if Kamaru Usman stands in there, it's just going to be sweet. You don't just want to stand with Jorge Masvidal. Kamaru Usman does not want to stand with Jorge Masvidal the way he was standing with Colby Covington. That's not going to play out the same way. He has to be very, very careful. Jorge Masvidal will actually go in there, with a straight jab, right hand, big right hand. And I do believe that Jorge Masvidal is going to go in there, and if they stand up, I do believe Kamaru Usman will be caught. I do believe Kamaru Usman will actually be caught. by Jorge Masvidal. If they try to go in the clinch, I don't think that's going to be sweet either. I mean, you got to see the way Jorge Masvidal was actually taking on Nate Diaz in the clinch, where Nate Diaz is a grinder in the clinch, where he actually made the fight very close with Conor McGregor in their second fight. You know, where just the way he takes men on against Anthony Pettis, where he was actually able to scrape up Anthony Pettis in the clinch, and Jorge Masvidal was just destroying Nate Diaz in the clinch. It's something different with Jorge Masvidal. It's not going to be sweet, whether it's 6 days notice where Kamaru Usman is like, okay, yeah, I had a full training camp, and, Jorge Masvidal didn't. That does not matter, because it's good and bad when you go up against a fighter on short notice. It's good because you weren't at that person wasn't actually training for you in specific, right? They were training for somebody else. I mean, it's good because, like you can go in there and they weren't training for you. It's bad because you didn't have a full training camp. That's why I really think it just cancels itself out. It cancels each other out, where it's good and bad. But honestly, for Jorge Masvidal to take this on 6 days notice, of course, why not jump on it? It's a title shot, right? But for Kamaru Usman to take it says a lot about him too. And in a good way, where, you were actually training for somebody in specific, and you're going to put your title on the line against a game opponent like Jorge Masvidal. It's so unbelievable right now. I'm so happy that this happened. 6 days notice does not matter. I mean, I know Gilbert Burns was in there. He was a game opponent, of course, but who doesn't want to see this one instead? I mean, let's take the BMF, let's take the welterweight title, and, it's like title against title, right? I mean, if Jorge Masvidal wins this fight, his status, his gangster approach into the sport is just going to catapult him into stardom. I mean, he's already a star in the sport right now, kind of a late bloomer when it comes to being a star, right? But it does not matter. His star potential is so high, and if he were to beat Kamaru Usman for this welterweight strap, to be the welterweight champion, the BMF of the sport, I mean, it's just going to be so official. It's just going to, he lives up to his hype. He lives up to his gangster, approach, like I said. And I mean, I gotta be honest, man. Welterweight title versus BMF. I know the BMF isn't on the line. I understand that. I know it was a one and done, but still, it's just, it's still there. You know what I mean? Where the BMF of the sport is actually gonna go up against the welterweight champion. And I mean, look, I know people are gonna say, yeah, Jorge Masvidal was bigger than Nate Diaz, and that's why he was able to actually like outwork him in the clinch and stuff. And they would be right. They would be right that he was bigger, but it does not matter. There was other big men that Jorge Masvidal fought years ago where he was just able to destroy. I'm telling you, Jorge Masvidal going up against Kamaru Usman, this is just something so special. This is going to be so great. I'm telling you, and they're headlining this. UFC 251, Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal, July 11th, this Saturday, only on pay-per-view. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this fight to happen. I really want to know what you guys think in the comments, how you think this is going to go down. What exactly do you think is going to happen? Who do you think is going to win and how? I do see Jorge Masvidal pulling off the win. I do see Jorge Masvidal winning. I don't see Jorge Masvidal losing this fight. I just don't see it. Now, I'm not saying Kamaru Usman is just, a horrible fighter where, he's just going to lose like without even a chance. But like, I know a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, well, Jorge Masvidal has a strong wrestling game. And yes, and that's true. He's world class. I understand that. And I do believe that Kamaru Usman is going to want to take this fight to the ground. He's not going to want to stand with Jorge Masvidal. I'm not saying that Kamaru Usman has no stand-up whatsoever. I'm not saying that. I just think Jorge Masvidal is just a much, much, much better striker. I do believe that they are going to be on a stand-up for this fight. I mean, if Kamaru Usman was training with pro boxers against Gilbert Burns, now does he want to bring that into the fight against Kamaru Usman? I'm sorry, against Jorge Masvidal, excuse me. Does Kamaru Usman want to bring that to Jorge Masvidal? I mean, Jorge Masvidal is going to take this fight wherever it needs to go, but I got to be honest. I mean, just going up against this, oh, man, I'm just very excited for Kamaru Usman to go up against Jorge Masvidal, though. This backyard brawler, this raw street fighter, that became a pro athlete now, and Jorge Masvidal, it's very exciting. Very exciting. I cannot wait for it. I really want to know what you guys think is going to happen. Who do you think is going to win this fight and how? I really want to know what you guys think in the comments. I really do. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure you smash the subscribe button. And I'll see all you guys in the instant breakdown and results after the fight. And I'll see all you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there.